Hey, this is Danielle. Today I'm going to be talking about NVDA and the buy setup that I currently have on the stock, especially after the beautiful rally that it saw today. So NVIDIA has had this daily squeeze for, I don't know, seems like a couple weeks now. I guess I could tell you exactly when it started, which would be July 1st. So a little bit more than 2 weeks. Initially, looked like the squeeze was going to take off and take the stock, to new high almost immediately. But it ended up falling back and consolidating first, which actually isn't the worst thing because now we're just getting a deeper pullback zone with a better buy. I love it when a stock pulls back to the 50 simple, especially when that overlaps with Fibonacci support, just because that's typically a pretty good support zone and it's just a deeper support zone. So, you're not buying right up near the high. So when you look at this stock, why could you buy it here? Well, there's a couple different reasons. Number one, as I mentioned, the nice pullback. But that pullback is also a Fibonacci two-step setup. So whenever you have a pattern like this, that's generally a pretty good pattern. You also have a situation where you've had two breakaway gaps in a row after earnings, and we have another earnings report coming up at the end of August. So whenever you see that kind of price action, typically you're going to see a rally going into the next earnings report, and then, the squeeze plus everything I already mentioned. It just is a nice confluence of setups. Now, how much could we actually rally between now and earnings? Well, I'll tell you that statistically, over the course of the last 2 years, NVIDIA has rallied on average about 12.47%, which is about $14.70 during this time frame right here. Now, we're not quite there yet. We will be entering that time frame on July 30th, but it's not one of those things where it's like buy at the exact day. It's one of those things where this is a, target, and you're trying to use the time frame and then also use your trading setup and kind of overlap the two. So sometimes getting in a little bit earlier, it's just what happens because you don't want to miss the move. Sometimes the move comes a little bit sooner than that 21-day time frame. So where could this go to? Well, like I said, average of about $14, $15 to the upside. If we did see about a $14, $15 move to the upside, well, guess what? You'd be right back at the previous all-time highs. If you throw on some fib levels here, you'll see that again, that's going to take you to 140, 148, and then maybe even 150. So I like the stock here. I think it makes sense to buy more at this level. You could buy shares. You could also sell some put credit spreads. Generally, when a stock falls into support like that, selling put credit spreads is the simplest thing to do as far as an options perspective is concerned. You know, right now it's trading right in the middle, kind of like at a weird strike, 123.50. Typically I like to sell like 125s, but I like to do it at the money. So it's not really perfect, but you could sell like the 123s and buy the 121s. You could sell the 123s and buy the 120s. So if you did something like that, you're looking at, let's see here, about $1.31 credit for $3 wide, which is pretty good. I like that risk reward ratio. It's pretty solid risk reward ratio. You could also go out a little bit further and you could buy the long calls in the earnings series. Those long calls at a Delta 70 are going to cost you about $1,500 per contract. Obviously it's kind of expensive, but that would be the best way to capitalize on an increase in IV and an increase in price should those two things occur. The other thing that you could do would be to buy a butterfly the week before earnings at the strike price that I mentioned. Have a target at 140 here. So, for example, you could do like a 125, 140. Let's see what this would look like. So, if you did it just slightly out of the money, 125, 140, 155, it's only going to cost you $3.35. So instead of buying a a long call in the earnings series, you could just go, shift it one more week before and buy a spread instead. It's going to bring down your cost basis significantly. Now, when you look at what the max profit potential is on that, it just depends on the width of your fly. If you make the fly $15 wide, your max profit is potentially $15. If you make it $10 wide, your max profit is potentially $10. Well, you have to subtract the debit that you paid, but the max you could close it for would be $15 if it's $15 wide, and $10 if it's $10 wide. And then, of course, you have to look at the debit that you paid. So I like those ideas. People always ask me, how wide do you make your flies? I try to make them as wide as I can, but it obviously is going to depend on how much money you have to spend. If you made it $20 wide, for example, instead of being around $3, it's going to be $5.71. I actually think that's better because it's in the money, but it does cost more. So if you have a small account you're trying to trade, might make it a little bit harder. But generally, I just start with the target, and then from there, adjust the wings of the fly, keeping in mind that the width you make the fly is the max you can close it for. So if it's $20 from here to here, the max you can close it for is $20. Consider how much you're paying. And that's what your upside potential is. So hope you found this helpful. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask me in the trading room if you're in the trading room at Simpler Trading. If not, you can follow me on Twitter right here at Trader Danielle. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.
Hey traders, thanks for watching this video. If you want to make sure that you get all of our free trading content, make sure you hit subscribe, and also give us a like and comment down below. If you want to learn more about us, and if you want to join us for live trading in real markets with real money, make sure you go to simplertrading.com, where you can join us for more info. Thank you very much and have a great day.